You're listening to Australia's national youth radio station, Triple J. For more info, go to triplej.net.au.
Thanks to the intervention of the ABC Board and the generous support of the Macquarie Bank, Triple J reluctantly presents the following 2 hours of unbiased, fair and balanced coverage of the week's topical issues. Would you please be upstanding for the national anthem? And your hosts, Stirling Addison LLB and guest, as we present Restoring the Balance.
Good evening and welcome to Restoring the Balance. I'd like to thank Richard Kingsmill for his show. And I would also like to begin with a story that I think fills out the bones of who Richard Kingsmill is as a man. I would like to tell you what happens every Sunday without fail, here in the studios of the ABC. I look out the window of the studio and I see Kingsmill holding at the exit of the ABC car park. The parking brake of his late model Saab engaged, and the red glow illuminating my parked Lexus. Kingsmill waits for my introduction to end, so the song can begin, and only then does he know that the microphones will be off, so that we can't hear him crank up the volume on his favourite Norah Jones track and tear off into the ultimo evening. This is what Kingsmill doesn't want you to hear. On the show tonight, Restoring the Balance, my co-host Spencer Penrose and I will be joined by ardent pro-capitalist Prodos. We will discuss the origins of Easter, and we will give you, the long-suffering conservative Triple J listener, a voice to cut through the cacophony and cant of the ABC cultural elites. That is coming up on this, Restoring the Balance on Triple J. My co-host for the evening, it is wonderful to welcome back to the studio fellow traveller on the Conservative Road, Spencer, from Family First Party.
Thank you for having me again, Stirling. Yes, yes. And angels on your body and happy Easter.
Yes, yes.
And Buona Pasqua, as they say in Italy.
Yes, of course, if you do know your Latin or you're Italian, that would be Happy Easter, a reflection of the word we know in English as Paschal, pertaining to all things to do with Easter.
Without a doubt.
And you, of course, celebrate Easter with due solemnity.
Indeed, it's one of the holiest days on our calendar, on the Christian calendar, obviously.
Yes. But we here at Triple J, of course, honour it by playing Simeon Mobile Disco, It's the Beat, just as Jesus instructed us to do on the cross.
Of course, and the Triple J team would be into Easter in the way that I saw on the news this morning, which was at the White House, the traditional Easter egg roll.
Yes.
Last year they started allowing gay parents to take part in this.
To me, there's no such thing.
And I believe the gay male parents had their Easter eggs donated.
Yes.
Which I'm sure everyone here at Triple J would be into.
Well, they probably attempted to get them fertilised.
Yes.
By some lesbian friend of theirs.
That's the agenda.
To rear some bastard offspring. It is, of course, a sacred occasion that is assailed on all fronts. It seems popular to stick the boot into Easter. And now I noticed with interest that the breakfast show here on Triple J, while down in Melbourne, did something called Jesus, You've Got Talent.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds about right.
Yes, yes.
I'm not surprised, I've got to say.
Yes, yes. A mockery of Christianity's holiest festival.
Well, we all know that Jesus has certain skills.
Yes.
Water into wine, possibly not the greatest trick to pull in these water restriction times.
Yes, yes. With a stroke of his mighty hand, the drought would end, of course.
Indeed.
But I of course, look forward to the Breakfast Boys and Girl doing a similar festival number, or a similar competition, if you like, during the Holy Muslim Festival of Ramadan. And no doubt they'll be staging Muhammad, You've Got Talent.
And what's his skill? Just bringing the mountain to him?
Yes.
I'm imagining.
Something like that. And just as they did their little Jesus, You've Got Talent skit opposite a Protestant cathedral in Melbourne, I'm sure that everyone on the breakfast show at Triple J, when they do Muhammad, You've Got Talent, will do it live from Lakemba, opposite a mosque, and I look forward to seeing the spirited audience reaction that show will no doubt inspire.
That would be just about right. No one is safe from the satirical arrows of Triple J.
Yes, well said, well said.
I mean, it is a big day. Church service, obviously, this morning.
Yes.
And we don't just sing and celebrate and talk about Easter. I mean, we also reenact the life of Jesus in a stage show. I mean, it's got everything. It's got drama. And in particular, we changed the scene where Jesus threw the moneylenders out of the temple.
Yes.
And instead he turns the temple into one of the largest auditoriums in the area.
Excellent.
And then he purchases surrounding acreage, builds a school next to the temple.
Progress.
Cafes, gyms, that kind of thing. Boutique TV studios, indeed.
And all with state-of-the-art audio-visual equipment as well.
That's a little twist that we give to the story, but it remains truthful to the text.
Yes, or even the broad narrative thrust of the story of Easter.
You don't lose anything at all.
No.
In our story.
But there was another occasion that was more solemnly marked by those at the ABC this weekend, Spencer. An anniversary apparently worthy of celebration. I'm talking of the 20th anniversary of the music show Rage.
Rage.
Which has been at the pointy end of the ABC's attempt to spread an alternative lifestyle to young, fertile minds and promote the alternative as the mainstream, if you like.
Well, it's no surprise that Australia's gone godless in the last 20 years.
Yes.
I mean, it's no coincidence that Rage has been on the air for 20 years, since 1987. The numbing effect of Rage on a Saturday night / Sunday morning. It's been responsible for eroding spirituality of this country's young people for 2 decades, as we know.
Yes, and I would urge all Triple J listeners to do what I have done as an act of protest. Instruct the person who looks after your family trust's affairs to stipulate that the very small amount of tax that it pays, that none of that small amount of tax goes on funding Rage and the subsequent explosion of sodomy and alternative lifestyle that it has caused in the last 20 years.
This is a wonderful idea.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if you saw some of the clips last night, but ABC didn't miss a chance to wheel out some of its bias.
Yes. Was there John Pilger, has he put out a song recently?
Midnight Oil.
Yes.
Beds Are Burning.
Yes.
Got to Run. Yothu Yindi Treaty. Interesting that these are protest songs that came up under the steel-capped boot of Labor.
Yes.
But since 1996, Aboriginal issues haven't been a problem. There's been nothing to protest about.
I don't recall a follow-up song by Yothu Yindi.
Either do I.
As you've rightly pointed out, there hasn't been a need for one.
Things are perfect.
Yes.
There's nothing to protest against. Peter Garrett at the ARIA is saying that we don't make enough protest music these days. That's because everything is fine and dandy, as we know.
Well, after 11 years, of course it is. Of course it is, and we have the chance later on in the year to continue this uninterrupted economic nirvana that has been delivered to us by John Winston Howard. Rage, it's a powerful emotion.
Yes.
And I think we've touched on it. Jesus, You've Got Talent made my blood boil. We want to know on the talkback number 1300 0555 36, Spencer, what makes you rage? What makes you angry?
I couldn't help but notice in the papers this week a $2.5 million campaign urging parents not to smack their children.
Yes.
This is something spearheaded by the government, and seeing as it talks about family, and I do represent family first, obviously it's of concern to me. It's a choice that really the individual should make. Whether or not you use physical punishment on children. I mean, growing up, the only physical contact I ever had with another human being was when the tuck shop lady would hand me my change at recess time.
Yeah.
My parents had a thing of not actually touching at all. That was their basic philosophy while I was growing up. They banned any touch whatsoever in the house. And that's healthy. You know, once a year on my birthday, my father would treat me with a polite handshake.
Yes.
Now and again, he would wrap it.
Yes.
Just to really, mark the event with some ceremony. But that makes me angry, and it's a $2.5 million online campaign. So who are they targeting here?
Well,
Star Trek fans with kids?
$2.5 million could be much better spent on renovations at the Melbourne Club, for example.
Yes.
That is one area. Or the Liberal Party Museum, which I'm attempting to be curator of. When it comes to punishment of children, I reflect on my own experience here. Nothing would bring you back into line quicker than the cold stare of your governors. Nothing would issue a sterner warning than the glacial stare of your primary caregiver, who in this case was a non-English speaking obese woman, who my parents hired, who were busy accumulating wealth for our family and the country. But you speak of rage, Spencer, and it's a minor annoyance of mine that sometimes spills over into rage. I mentioned my car before, the Lexus four-wheel drive, which comes equipped with GPS, and it is a vocal GPS. It actually tells you where to go. I've noticed every time I've got into it, after Penny has driven it, I punch up where she's just been, and it just seems the last 15 times she's visited by what I think is quite coincidental streets in which close friends of mine have lived.
Okay, well, she's a social woman.
She's very social, and it must be that she knows people in the same streets.
Yes. By
sort of odds that I couldn't dare calculate. But I have to reprogram it every time. So I'm not sure if you have the same problem. Many Triple J listeners would no doubt have the same problem programming the GPS in whatever Japanese luxury vehicle they drive.
You've got yourself a vital woman there.
Yes.
You've got a woman there who is keen on expanding her social networks.
Yes.
And I wouldn't look too much further into that.
Yes.
I think that everything is above. But I'm sure it gives you the irrits.
Yes.
Doing the old...
We're having to reprogram, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just baffled by the coincidence. Extraordinary. 1300 055536. What does annoy you and make you angry? This is Triple J Restoring the Balance. Restoring the Balance, Triple J. You're with myself, Stirling, my co-host from the Family First Party, Spencer Penrose. The song we heard there, quite appropriate for what we'll be talking about a little later on, Spencer.
Okay.
Shihad, which of course sounds like jihad.
Yes.
The holy duty of the more militant Muslims amongst us.
Interesting that they play this song at Triple J on East.
It is, of course, an endorsement, no doubt, of Islamic fundamentalism. You will find no more sympathetic hotbed of that violent interpretation of the Quran than it here at the ABC.
You're so right.
Here at the ABC.
Without a doubt.
It is, of course, anti-Christian, anti-Easter, well, in fact, that's why the ABC is called Auntie. It's just Auntie-everything that we stand for.
So anti-Christian, every Sunday night the security guard gives me a hard time coming on in here.
Yes.
I mean, I've got to point to my picture in the foyer. I'm signing away. I'm signing everything. I'm doing everything that I can to get in here, but somehow they're not letting me in.
But you're the threat. But of course...
It's a secret agenda.
Yeah, Hicks could walk in with his favourite rocket launcher and would be swept through security, cheered by the staff here, held aloft.
The most dangerous man in the world.
Yes. Insane. That is the sort of thing that makes us angry here at Restoring the Balance. And we are talking about rage this evening. Rage, a pure emotion. Also the name of a 20-year-old show sponsored by the ABC, broadcast by the ABC, which disseminates nothing but anti-authoritarian views, anti-social views, anti-family views.
Yeah, and it erodes Saturday night early to bed time.
Yes.
On Sunday morning, people are so tired from watching, I don't know, Ben Queller.
Yes.
Guest programming. Jenny Morris.
Who?
Guest programming.
Yes.
Yeah, James Valentine,
Who?
I believe, had a crack at it.
Yes.
And all it leads to is a bacchanalian sort of Saturday evening of bucket bongs and daisy chains before you know it.
Yeah.
And people don't have enough energy to get up on Sunday morning to go to church.
It's totally correct, that assessment of what it is.
Yeah.
It does make us angry. We are asking what makes you angry. We have Megan from Narrandera in New South Wales. How's the drought in Narrandera at the moment, Megan?
No, it's Miranda.
Miranda.
It's in the Sutherland Shire.
Yes.
The home of the salacious media riots. Remember them, the
Yes.
Cronulla riots?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You want to know what makes me angry?
Tell me.
Okay.
Tell us.
I've got a list. Can I
Tell
go
Australia.
through the list? Okay, warmongering, conscription, sedition, social control, sometimes called religion, mass media, commercial mass media,
Yes.
salacious terror threats, Menzies' child, other known as John Howard, psychiatry, prisons, psychiatry, because,
Yes.
I mean, they incarcerate the innocent, and
Yes.
it's really not
Yes.
logical, don't you think?
Well, that's certainly a grab bag of left liberal gripes you've got there. we could address all of them.
Sorry, liberalism, Keynesian economics,
Yes.
Hayeckian theory.
Well, I'd agree with Keynesian, pump priming and the government being involved in any sort of capitalist activity. I would totally agree with that.
Yes.
The government, of course, has no place in the marketplace. The other things you mentioned, you can physically overdose on John Pilger, Megan.
Who?
Exactly.
Yeah. And by liberalism, you got the caps lock on. Do you need? You mean big L or little L?
Of course I mean small L.
Small L.
You're
yes.
not patronising me, are you?
We wouldn't
Not at
dream
all.
of it. We wouldn't dream of it.
Also,
Megan, are there many fellow travellers where you are? I mean, of course, the ABC is chocked to the rafters with people as misguided as yourself. Where you live, are there people on the same left-leaning bandwagon going to hell in a handbasket?
Well, I have to congratulate my...
I think you're going to congratulate the grower.
Because you know why?
Tell me.
Sure.
You're breaking up.
okay,
It's obviously
yeah,
a conspiracy of some sort.
The combi van is driving into a tunnel.
Yes. Well said. Well said. Thank you, Megan.
Wait.
Well, I think we've had enough.
This is guest programming the show.
Yes, exactly. Adam from Barringbar and also New South Wales. Good evening, Adam.
G'day, Stirling.
Adam, do you share the same, I'm not going to say political views, I'm going to say dope dealer as our previous caller?
Not particularly, no.
Excellent.
I don't really want anything to do with Mull myself.
Yes,
Dope,
excellent.
Whatever you want us to call it.
Excellent. Yes, Adam, what makes you angry?
You, to be honest.
Me? Why?
Yeah. Restoring the balance.
Yes.
Is the show that you cover, that
Yes.
you are trying to cover.
Yes.
I know they give you your 2 hours or 3 hours because they have to, but
It is a drop in the leftist ocean.
Not enough.
that's true, yes. But I don't think it's balanced at all. I think it's your biased view of the world, myself.
How can it be biased if I'm trying to wrest the political direction of the ABC from the radical left?
The radical left, I think you're coming from the way radical left myself.
How so?
How so? You just get on here on your bloody Sunday nights,
Yes.
criticise everything that's worth criticising or
Yes.
you think worth criticising and
Yes.
think you're a bloody hero for it, mate.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't class myself as my hero Adam Smith, for example, or Robert Menzies, or John Winston Howard.
Are they your role models in life?
Well, Milton Friedman would have to be up there.
Right, okay, yeah.
And when you see the show on TV called Heroes,
Yeah.
none of the people there have shown any superhero ability to restore Australia's economic credibility as John Howard has.
Well, it's an American show for starters, mate.
Well, we need to
So-
make our own version here.
That's right. Featuring Ashley Evans.
What, are you going to star in that? What superpower have you got, Sterling? Apart from...
To see through the leftist fog of nonsense
Right,
that clearly blinds you, Adam.
Mate, I'm my own man, and I have my own values and my own morals.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's why I'm ringing tonight. I've been listening to your show for the last 3 weeks, and I think it's utter crap.
Well, that's feedback.
And I think all of your opinions are utter crap too, mate.
All we're doing is righting wrongs, and often
Yes.
that can ruffle a few feathers.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right. Well, you're trying to ruffle. Well, you've ruffled my feathers because you're a disgrace.
Because you're a
Yes.
chicken.
Because I'm a what?
Well, I don't
you're
wanna
a
get in- Yes.
I'm a chicken.
You
Yes.
have feathers, and
Yes,
Okay.
you're a parrot. You're a parrot of the left.
there
But
we
it's
are.
been
That's what I was after.
It's been an experience talking to you, Adam, and we thank you for your taxpayer-funded call.
Yeah.
Thank you, Centrelink. Scott from Wyndham.
How you going, boys?
Scott, that was a bruising encounter with Adam.
Oh, mate, I was sounding like someone who goes to uni to learn to be a PE teacher on taxpayers' money to me.
Well said. Well said. Adam, I should say, Scott, are you a fellow traveller, being from Queensland? Are you one of us?
I'm not against you.
Excellent. What makes you angry, Scott?
There's a bit of dark news coming out of Ipswich fish shops, boys.
Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just Mike Oldfield being a jealous lover towards Pauline or anything.
Pauline Hanson, yes?
Yeah, well, she got with a new... But, there's talk of capping politicians' superannuation at 50%.
Well, this is an outrage.
It is.
Well,
Surely.
I think it's discrimination because no one else has had their super capped at 50%.
Yes, true.
And these guys are doing a great job.
No,
Yeah.
you will remember in response to Mark Latham's What would you call it?
I'd like to point out that I was brought up a Labor voter because my dad did.
Yes.
I've seen the light.
Excellent. As many people in Queensland have, except on a state level.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard push up here, but I think they'll see it.
What else makes you angry, Scott? You have the ear of Australia. Does it...
I can't tell you the truth, can I? Do you want to know the truth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Chuppa chups.
Yeah, Chuppa Chups.
Well,
they've had it coming for a while.
I can't quite see how that would make you angry.
You don't catch the same train that I do.
No.
Yeah, so, interesting fact. Salvador Dali actually designed the Chuppa Chups logo. Did you know that?
I just knew he was some perverted artist.
Yes. And I think maybe where Scott's at, he's sort of the only one who could understand what a Salvador Dali
Well, I
painting...
actually thought it was Andy Warhol.
And it's actually, it was actually Dali.
Yeah, well, I knew it was someone arty, and I suppose whenever I see these... because I'm not sure who on the train's actually painting, who's sniffing it, and who's actually using it for transport.
Yeah. Well, if you want to know who's sniffing it, approximately 98% of the audience currently listening to you.
Yeah.
My line is actually on a state. It runs straight through a lot of state schools, so I hear where you're coming from.
Well, would that it ran through them.
Some of them have actually got...
Would that it ran through the teachers' lounge.
That would be progress, Scott.
No, there's no teachers' land. They've just got a little... they've got a bungalow out the back where they're allowed to smoke.
Yes, and
Chuppa Chups.
it's not the fine product of British American tobacco that they're smoking.
No.
It's something a little more to the left of the law.
Yeah, well, I know the state schools have got to do something about it, but giving them cans with the logo on it so it's easy to identify them, I don't think that's addressing the problem.
Yes,
No.
yes.
Right.
Scott, it's been an experience talking to you. Are you living near Ipswich at the moment?
No, I'm trying to move as far away from it as possible at the moment.
And keep
I've
in mind
only got the one head.
Well, I think that's a reference to something that we won't explore at the moment. Thank you for calling, Scott.
No, it's very good.
We have Andrew from Melbourne.
Hello, Stirling. Spencer.
Andrew, the callers have been willing tonight.
Yes.
What makes you angry?
The mediocrity of my Centrelink payment every fortnight.
I understand. Yeah, Centrelink makes me angry too. The very existence
Yes.
of it, I think, Stirling, you'd have to agree.
When you say mediocrity, unsurprisingly, I believe you've used the word out of context. Are you concerned as to the paucity of the payment you're receiving, your remuneration?
Yes.
It is not... Andrew, out of interest, for being unemployed at a time when unemployment is at its lowest in 30 years, how much do you think you should be paid for refusing to work?
Well, I'm actually a student.
Yes, like I say, for refusing to work.
And I do work as well.
Like I say, for refusing to work.
And he receives Centrelink payments. I think we're onto something here.
Yes, we can get the call traced.
Restoring the Balance exclusive, an expose.
Yes. Well, I get your point, but I'm also doing a proper course.
Which is PE?
Engineering.
What is it?
Engineering.
Engineering, yes.
I'm going to be helping build this great country.
Well, I hope it's a social engineering course and you can help undo the damage of the Keating-Hawke years. It wasn't a joke.
It's actually civil engineering, but,
yes.
I'll be doing a bit of that, on the side maybe.
So you'll be a very civil engineer. You'll hold the door open for your wife.
Yeah.
yes, I will, actually. Yes. I'm actually... something else that gets me angry is the state government in Victoria.
With the Honourable, I use the term advisedly, Stephen Bracks.
Yes.
Why does he make you angry, Andrew?
Because he's basically useless, and people only vote for him because, he wears a nice suit.
Well, doesn't that describe every Labor state premier in the country?
Yes, except Lennon.
Except Lennon, yes, who's doing the right thing by the logging company Guns, who is beloved of the share market.
Yes.
And continue to earn export dollars for Australia by turning old growth forests into badly needed wood chip for the Japanese market.
We do need wood chips.
The Japanese need them more.
Yes.
The Japanese need them more and pay. So on behalf of all Triple J listeners, I say to Guns, keep up the good work.
Yes.
Thank you, Andrew, for your call.
Well done, Andrew. Very like minds.
It is Restoring the Balance on Triple J. We are asking at the moment, is the 20th anniversary of Rage.
Yes, and it's been 20 years, and I was discussing earlier the battle that a lot of Australia's young people have between getting up early for Jesus for a Sunday morning service, or indeed staying up till 3 o'clock watching Alien Ant Farm guest program Rage. You know, I mean, I'd love to come to bed. Mr. Bungle have just started. That's the constant debate, and that is part of the, that is responsible, I feel, partly at least, for the erosion of spirituality with Australia's young people for the past 20 years.
I'll put this hypothetical to you, Spencer. Jesus Christ, our Lord, returns. Not in 1 million years would the ABC ask him to guest program.
No. You could never... They'd rather have Lotel on.
Yes. Yes, well said, because they would not want anything remotely pro-family or pro-good on Rage. It being, of course, a stalking horse for all sorts of deviant left liberal values that the youth of Australia are asked, indeed subliminally ordered to watch, and to which I must proudly say my family trust contributes almost nothing in the way of taxation, which would therefore and does therefore pay for Rage.
Yes.
We are asking what does make you angry. The talkback number here is 1300 0555 36. If you'd like to text, you can do so. The SMS number, of course, 1975 7555. We always remember 1975 from the year that Australia was saved from economic ruination by Malcolm Fraser the trader. But we are speaking to Ben from Canberra. Ben from Canberra, what makes you angry, Ben?
Yeah, g'day Sterling, g'day Spencer.
G'day, Ben.
The problem I have is with our nearest neighbour. It's
Papua New Guinea.
No, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's quite bad, really, when you think about it.
Well,
it's pretty broad sort of criticism. What in particular about New Zealand, Ben?
Well, you're travelling overseas, and you'll basically be in a pub, and there'll be, Kiwis there and stuff, and people think they're Australian. And it's basically, they're sharing our glory, our limelight.
Well, is there no subtle way of distinction, of marking yourselves to illustrate to your host country that you are indeed different?
That's a good idea.
You do not breed with close relatives. You have a command of the English language. You have a defence force capable of repulsing any invasion. All of these things set us apart from New Zealanders.
And you'll find that Australia is such a great country that not as many people leave it.
Yes.
As do New Zealand.
But
yes.
New Zealanders are so good at actually adopting Australian mannerisms.
A bit like a virus.
Yeah.
Overtaking the host. And I've made the call on this show before, Ben, that in the most perfect of worlds, we have, as you pointed out, a close neighbour with people who are of similar racial stock, have a handle, I should say, not a firm grasp, but a handle of sorts on the English language that we speak. They would make excellent domestic workers.
Oh, this is a great idea. This is wonderful. Bring them over, you were saying.
Yes. So and repopulate farmers battling the dry heart of New South Wales onto the verdant, fertile lands of New Zealand.
This is a great idea.
What do you think of that, Ben?
Look, I reckon it's time for a new snowy scheme. I reckon the Europeans are all busy doing their own thing, and I think New Zealand's up there for the challenge.
Yes, well said, Ben.
Bring them over here and have running of the Kiwis, an annual sort of tourism event.
I would see them tagged and their movements monitored, but
microchipped.
But as domestic servants, I think they are ready-made for the task. Ready-made. Thank you, Ben, who lives in Canberra and can agitate for his, beliefs in the nation's capital. He would receive a warm reception, no doubt.
Indeed.
This is Restoring the Balance.
Restoring the Balance on Triple J. Your taxes barely at work.
Privatise the ABC. Privatise, it belongs to you and me. And if that really is the honest, absolute truth, then I would give it to you and make a lovely buck or two. Wouldn't you? Privatise, privatise, privatise the...
A song that we wish we'd written here on Restoring the Balance.
Yeah, if only.
Don't look for it on a Hottest 100. It will never be there.
You'll never find it.
The spite-filled crew of Triple J wouldn't dare put something as truthful as that on the publicly funded waste of money that is the Hottest 100 released into CD shops at the end of every year. The author of that song is a pro-capitalist activist. He is founder, organiser and president of International Capitalism Day. It is an honour to have him here in the studio with us. Would you please make welcome Prodos?
Hi Sterling, hi Spencer. Great to be here.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I've been listening to the show. Interesting. You chaps sort of come from a conservative angle.
Yes,
sort of the
proudly
Jesus, Christian tradition stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not where I come from in promoting capitalism at all.
Well, we are still under the broad umbrella.
We're still brothers in arms.
Yes.
Well, don't know about that. We'll have to see.
Well, Prodos, would you just, in so many words, tell us what International Capitalism Day is and where you stand as a fan of the great economic system that is capitalism?
International Capitalism Day started in 2001. The first Sunday of June around the world is International Capitalism Day.
Yes.
It started here in Melbourne. There are now 43 countries participating.
A coalition of the willing. If ever there was one.
No, it's a bunch of free market radicals, students, housewives, no corporate involvement at all. It's just individuals who care about freedom and prosperity. The main point of the Celebrate Capitalism campaign, which runs International Capitalism Day, is that capitalism is actually not about money. Capitalism is about freedom and creativity. So that's where we come from.
Yes, because I would point out that no other system so easily allows for individual liberty and collective advancement.
Sure.
It is the ideal system through which to distribute goods and services. And if you look at communist Russia under the yoke of communism for some nearly 70, 80 odd years, the people yearned for capitalism.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I was talking on my show once to Barun Mitra from India and James Shikwati from Kenya.
Yes.
And they just come from a World Trade Organization conference, which I'm not a massive supporter of the WTO, but they have some good points and bad points.
Well, they know we're fans of their work. Yes.
Yes. I'm pretty critical of some aspects of what they do. They're not really free marketeers, but they just come out of this conference, and I was interviewing them on my show, and they were shaking their heads and smiling, and there was all these bloody middle-class lefty activists around there shouting them down.
Limo lefties.
Yeah. I guess.
Triple J employees.
Yes, yes.
As they're otherwise known.
Grown fat of the public teat.
Okay, guys. And what James and Barun said to me was, has anybody actually asked the poor what they actually want?
Spot on.
The poor do not want handouts. What they want is they want investment. They want capitalism. They want free trade. They want freedom, which is actually what underlies capitalism and free trade. So with the Celebrate Capitalism campaign, we're not promoting so much people getting rich. We're not promoting corporations. We have no corporate sponsorship. What we're saying is that if I own my life, then what follows from that? Which system defends that most clearly? And there's only one system, and that is the original laissez-faire capitalism. Now, what we have in Australia, in the US and across the West is not actually capitalism. It's a mixed economy.
It's a distortion of the vision of Adam Smith and his invisible hand.
Well, Adam Smith is certainly someone who's done some great work. We also include Ludwig von Mises, Ayn Rand.
Yes, Ayn Rand, yes.
Thomas Jefferson and the American founding fathers.
Yes.
We go back to Aristotle, Frederick Bastiat, the great French thinker of the 19th century. So people like that. So we have
heroes all.
And they disagree with each other on many issues, and even across the Celebrate Capitalism campaign, which you can find out more about, by the way, at celebratecapitalism.org. Celebratecapitalism.org. You'll see that there's lots of divergent views, but what we have in common is the wish to promote individual rights and freedom for the for the persons. And when you're free, Spencer, you might go out and make money, or you might go and start a church. Of course, I've been listening very attentively.
No need.
Oh well, there's plenty of them out there. Sterling might go out and make some money.
I've done that.
Oh, good on you, mate. I can tell.
Well, my grandfather has, and I've cleverly inherited it.
Cleverly. And others might write poetry. Others might travel the world. So the main issue is which system gives us freedom, which system respects the fact that we own our own life.
Yes.
So that's the key question. The question is not about what Jesus said. The question is not about what Rob Enzi said.
Yeah.
The question is which system respects the fact that each of us owns our own life. Is that capitalism or not? Now, I once thought it was communism. I was a hardcore communist for many, many years.
That's true. I'm reading your bio.
And I'm very proud to have been a communist, and I'm also proud to have left communism, because I believe I became a communist for the right reasons and left it for the right reasons. In other words, I was looking for a rational solution, not one based on tradition, not one based on blind religion, and not all religion is blind, not one based on the past, but one that's based on what opens up the potential for my life and for the human race.
Apart from Dianetics. If you're that way inclined, of course, that is.
Thanks.
With Spencer, you want to ask something?
Oh, I just wanted to say this is all very interesting, but I wanted to get behind the facade, Protos.
The facade,
and learn about you.
Definitely.
On a personal level. You used to be a communist, as you brought up. And communism, of course, believes that religion is the opium of the masses. And you are still an atheist. Even though you are, but do you not think that maybe atheism and capitalism go hand in hand? I mean, I quote from the Bible here, where I say that wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. That's from Ecclesiastes 10:19.
Oh, you certainly know your Bible, mate.
Do you not agree with me on that front?
So, what's your question?
Well, that religion and God and capitalism indeed are brothers in arms and can walk hand in hand.
Well, I think that some religions are more capitalism compatible than others. I think Christianity is. I've been studying Christianity for the last couple of... Christianity I've been studying in depth since late last year, and I think it's quite compatible. If you actually go back to the Bible, there's a lot that's compatible with capitalism. Other religions like Islam, to me, do not seem to be compatible with freedom and therefore incompatible with capitalism.
Does that not depend on the interpretation of the Quran?
Well, interpretation, yeah, I guess so. It does, but I actually set out 2.5 years ago to study Islamic literature, the Quran, the Hadith, and that sort of stuff, Muhammad's life, in search of something called ijtihad. Now, ijtihad is supposed to be a concept in Islam which promotes liberal thinking, in other words, free thinking, debate, discussion. And after 2.5 years, and if your listeners can prove otherwise, I welcome their comment, but I could not find anything in Islam that is pro-freedom. And I have to say, it's astounding. Whereas, for example, in Islam, if you leave Islam, then and you're an apostate, what is the punishment for that?
Well, I would imagine next time you go to whatever gentleman's club you belong to, or if you bump into a friend at a Lexus dealership, they would spurn you and not speak to you.
Yeah, that'd be okay, yeah. But actually the actual recognised punishment for apostasy is death.
Dear me.
Yeah, if you go to the Islamic Council of Victoria, which is supposed to be a moderate Muslim site...
I would call upon the Church of England in Australia to show a spine as stiff as that.
That would be a wonderful thing.
for apostasy and for those advocating gay marriage.
And people who leave my church, I mean, all we do is shun.
Yes.
I mean, I don't mind this harder line.
I'm against it. It's
there's nothing lily-livered.
Capitalism and violence are totally incompatible, gentlemen.
Well, and just on to your particular organisation, you are a not-for-profit pro-capitalist organisation.
Yes, indeed.
Ironically, as you pointed out, Spencer, and I will point out that the sellers of the magazine or the newspaper Green Left do so to amass fortunes.
Yes,
these people to meet insane performance targets, and of course, part of selling Green Left is to wear clothes that make you look down at heel. They are, in fact, loaded with money.
Oh,
Loaded.
I don't know about that. There's some very good lefty activists out there, actually.
Name none.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
The thing about the left is that many in the left, so-called, whatever it means, the left, do care about rights and freedoms. Many on the conservative side are pretty boring and dry. They talk about traditions. They talk about. They don't have a justification that comes back to the individual. Yes. And the key is the individual. The key is the respect for the individual.
Oh, we have much respect for the individual.
And as for being dry and not cool, I mean, I own a Belle Biv DeVoe CD. In fact, I own two, as a matter of fact, and I put a challenge out for anyone who can match that.
I own a Shannon Knoll CD.
There we go.
Well, you got it made, guys.
I would point out that, to reinforce your point, Spencer, that the Christianity is the greatest of all bedfellows of capitalism, and as Spencer has said many times.
Well, what I'm saying is that
as he has said many times on this program,
can be capitalist compatible.
His how to vote card is called the Bible.
Yes. What more evidence do you need than that?
We don't need any. Now,
I have met some twits who are Christians too. I hope you're not one of them, Spencer.
Well, I just hope not. Yes. International Capitalism Day, when can we celebrate it in full voice? Of course, it will be banned here at the ABC.
June.
First Sunday of June.
First Sunday of June every year. This year I will not be in Melbourne. I'll be leading a campaign over in Cincinnati. Heading over to the USA. My wife's American. She's been back for a while. Yeah. But we'll have some people running a campaign here. But
do you think capitalism will ever catch on in America?
I hope America discovers its roots.
Yes,
I hope it goes back to its founding principles. It's departed very far from that. It's gone very far from Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington.
We hope your visit will, if you'll allow me to coin a phrase, restore the balance. Yes. Thank you very much for coming in, Protos. This is Restoring the Balance on Triple J. We had Protos in earlier, Spencer. He was proudly wearing a T-shirt we would love to wear and we would love to be able to give away. We might be able to look into this. A T-shirt that proudly demanded privatise the ABC.
I think that's great. We should get that into ABC shops immediately.
Excellent suggestion. The full title of the shirt, of course, privatisetheabc.com.
Mm-hmm. That's the website.
.com. It is a website, so check it out now. We heartily endorse the spirit of that particular T-shirt. We are asking, what makes you angry? Stuart from Albury and/or Wodonga has called us. Stuart.
G'day.
Stuart, what makes you angry? Because we are talking about the 20th anniversary of Rage, and so we're saying, what makes you rage in your life?
Oh, well, like a lot of things make me rage, but you know, the people who are happy all the time and have a go at you for having rage.
Well,
they grind my gears.
People are happy because for the last 11 years things have never been better.
That's right. And indeed, I mean, Stuart, you should swing by Paradise Community Church if you're ever in Adelaide, because we will commence a love bombing on you that will turn that frown upside down.
See, it's people like you that, like, you know, who always say you wake up in the morning and things are so peachy.
Yes.
Well, they are.
Things are peachy. I wake up in a house worth more money than you could possibly dream of. and I go to work at my family's law firm. I make a lot of money, and that makes me happy.
Well, I'm an apprentice, mate, and I work way harder than you ever have in your entire life.
I wouldn't dispute that for a second.
Are you serious?
Yes.
But I sort of perceived you as being like a pretty hateful person.
No.
And I'm assuming that you would have copped like a lot of happy people having a go at you for being, you know, a
Let
hater.
them.
Let them? So you're all for it, are you?
Well,
the positive thought drives this show.
Yes. Yes, we are happy to be pointing out the idiocy of anything to the left. We are happy to be pointing out how corrupt the ABC is. we, Stuart, have a sense of purpose.
A sense of purpose.
Yes, we have a sense of mission.
It's easy for you, mate, because you're rich rolling and, you know...
Yes.
Well, we wake up every morning and we see what Kevin Rudd's up to, and we laugh our heinies off.
And we're onto him. We're onto him.
Why wouldn't you be joyous?
Look, I reckon Kev's got a few things going for him.
Yes, he also is fabulously wealthy. He's worth about $100 million, and that's why he's smiling all the time.
Yeah, true.
Yes. Stuart, what sort of apprentice are you?
I'm a diesel mechanic.
A diesel mechanic.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we actually, earn a living, mate. We've got to get our hands dirty.
Well, somebody has to. A friend of mine drives a diesel-powered Lexus on the hobby farm. He would not be able to enjoy the benefits of the hobby farm if it wasn't for diesel.
In the Lexus. Yes. I mean, it's guys like you who make our world turn around.
That's right.
And just like a diesel engine is best left idling, I bet that's the way you make your way through the day as well. Just idling away the hours.
Yeah.
What's this over here? I'll pick up a spanner. The boss is coming.
Yes, I'm sure that's half of any apprenticeship. It's pretending to be busy. And I'm sure, no doubt, you will be very busy if Labor is elected, because for anybody who has built a shelter with a diesel generator, you will need to shelter for the coming race war if Labor do get elected.
Indeed.
Stuart, you will never be busier. Thank you for your call. Daniel from Tasmania.
Yes.
What makes you angry?
Oh, it's just that I've just done my 4 years of my apprenticeship, and now I've just realised that I can't build my
You can't build your own what?
House.
Why?
Because I haven't got my 4th year certificate.
Who's preventing you from doing this?
Well, I did my whole apprenticeship, so, well, I don't know.
I mean, how many more gates do you want to be opened? I mean, you've got the first home buyers grant.
Yes.
You've got interest rates remaining steady.
At unprecedented low levels.
Yeah, is Australia having a housing boom? I mean, things are pretty easy at the moment, Daniel. Come on.
I might blame individual endeavour and a failure of that.
Yes.
To properly get off your backside, Daniel, and tackle the problem. Would I be right in saying that?
Oh, there we go.
The truth hurt there.
Didn't have any thoughts to parry.
No.
That's the kind of listener Triple J attracts.
Restoring the balance.
Easter, what a top excuse for a long weekend. Some time doing Easter with Triple J.
Restoring the balance on Triple J. Your taxes barely at work.
It is Restoring the Balance, the only show on Triple J we would point out that is truly celebrating Easter. If you listen to Kingsmill's hours of pointless secularism, that is his show. A show with no redeeming quality or uplifting content.
No.
Just one dispiriting track after another. The redemption of our Lord Jesus Christ would have found no home on that show.
No. You're so right.
Yes, but it does on this show proudly, on Restoring the Balance, and we are determined to illuminate and educate on this show. We do see it as our remit, and in that spirit we are speaking to Stephen Juan, who is an anthropologist. He's not Sol Trujillo's brother, of course, Spencer, who set up the phone company Juantel.
Ah, yes.
Yes, I did tell that particular joke at a Young Liberals meeting several times. And
the forest echoed with laughter, I'm sure.
Yes,
it's a delicious pun.
Yes.
Or a Juan,
yes,
indeed.
Juan. He is, of course, Stephen Juan. He is an anthropologist, and he is here to talk to us about the true meaning and origins of Christianity's holiest festival. Stephen, good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you.
Stephen, could you inform any Triple J listener who has defied all odds to be sober at 10:05? Could you explain to them what Easter is and what it means?
Well, it's, of course, the greatest religious holiday of the Christian Church. It is the miracle of the crucifixion and then the resurrection of Christ. The miracle, the centerpiece of the Christian faith.
Yes. Now, did it start at, well, let us guess and say 33 AD?
No, what happened is that Easter itself is actually it is an Anglo-Saxon festival originally, going back to pagan times, long before Christ.
Yes.
And when the Christian missionaries of the early Catholic Church went as far as the Anglo-Saxon part of Northern Europe, they wanted to practice their religion, but it was, of course, very, very dangerous to do so. In those days, not unlike our own.
Yes.
If you practiced the wrong religion, you were killed.
Yes.
So there was this Easter festival of this fertility goddess around springtime, and so the Christians latched on to that and called it Easter, just changed the spelling around a little bit, and said that this is what we're celebrating during the time of Easter. It's Christian, yet it's also pagan as well. And this way they were able to get away with. They could practice their resurrection of Christ ceremonies and observance and not be killed for it.
Are you saying it was cynically co-opted?
No, not really. But this is what, in the origin of Christianity, you see that the Christian rituals and the Christian beliefs, and sometimes the Christian saints, are actually borrowed and appropriated the different peoples that they encountered along the way. And then it was only in 325 A.D. with the Council of Nicaea that was convened by the Emperor Constantine that everything was more or less standardized. For example, the crucifix was standardized as the symbol of Christianity. Previously, there were other things, including the egg, I might add.
The egg, yes, which survives as a symbol of Easter at the moment. We assume because of fertility.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's part of it. But you see, there were a number of other symbols for Christianity, and then and also the date of the time of the year. The day of the week that Easter is celebrated. In the early Christian church, sometimes it was Friday, sometimes it was Saturday, sometimes it was Sunday, and then at the Council of Nicaea, it was determined that Easter would be celebrated on the first Sunday after the first full moon, on or after the vernal equinox.
Yes.
And that puts it between March 22nd and April 25th. And so makes it a Sunday, and that's why Easter never falls on the same date 2 years in a row. Christmas, for example, is always on December 25th.
Yes.
I always get confused, and I consider myself a scholar, but now and again, when was the Last Supper, Stephen? Because, I've tried to book a restaurant around the Easter period, and it's often, it's remarkable that thing happened, because it's often hard to find a table over the Easter long weekend. Do you agree?
Well, yes. A question that comes up is what is Good Friday, which of course is after the Last Supper, and why is it called good? People say because if it's the day that Christ was crucified, why don't they call it Bad Friday?
Yes. Yeah.
But in fact, good is actually an alteration of the original name for it, which was God's Friday. And then God's Friday became Good Friday in translation. And that's also, by the way, where we get the idea when we say goodbye to someone, we say goodbye. That used to be go with God or God be with you. And so somehow that translated and that changed over the years to goodbye.
I always say go with God, though. That's always my recommended parting shot.
Well, the Spanish actually still do, speaking of the Spanish, vayos con Dios, which is literally go with God.
What about the Easter Bunny, Stephen?
The Easter Bunny was the symbol of the fertility goddess, Eastra. It was a hare. And, of course, what happened with this bunny rabbit, with this hare, was that when you needed a symbol for Easter, and Istra, the fertility goddess of the Anglo-Saxons, already had her symbol of the hare, well, the early Christians latched onto that as well and appropriated it. It was perfect because it is a spring festival, and, of course, it doesn't take doesn't take you too long to figure out that the rabbit is very, very fertile.
Yes,
So
Catholic.
it was a perfect symbol.
Yes. Stephen, lastly, do you have any truck with those who objected to the chocolate Christ which was put on display at a museum in America?
Well, these things usually have... It seems that around religion, there are a number of tasteless traditions that emerge. People go too far.
Yes.
I remember the Jesus Christ ashtray of the 1960s. I don't know if you'd want to crush out your cigarette butt on a face of Jesus Christ.
Not me.
But that was what was there. And, I remember the glow-in-the-dark crucifixes
Yes.
and the flashing crucifixes.
Yes.
May I just say one thing about the hot cross buns and where that comes from?
Certainly, yes.
Because hot cross buns were, again, going back to Easter, she had... what was done at that ceremony was that an ox was sacrificed, and the symbol of the ox was the horns of the ox. And then when the Christians took on the crucifix as the symbol of Christianity, the boon, which was what the bun was called for the sacred ox, the symbol of the sacred ox moved from the crossed horns to the crucifix. The same symbol was used, and hence on these Easter buns there would be the cross, and that stays with us today. The hot cross buns, we have them at Easter.
Stephen, you are a veritable font of Paschal trivia. Anybody listening closely tonight will be able to amuse friends, family and co-workers on the day of rest that is Easter Monday with what you have imparted to us this evening. We thank you very much for your time and we wish you a very happy Easter.
Well, thank you very much. A Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, and I hope you get all your presents.
Well, no doubt I will. I have been a good boy. Stephen Huan, anthropologist.
Very informative. The Easter Bunny, the Easter Bilby we didn't get to.
Well,
they all look the same in the crosshairs of a rifle when we're going shooting on your hobby farm, though, Stirling.
We are not shooting, we are controlling.
Indeed.
Controlling the population. It's a good idea. It is about 13 minutes past 10. This is Restoring the Balance on Triple J. What makes you angry? What makes you rage? We're talking about 20 years of the ABC's weekend propaganda broadcast that is camouflaged as a music video show.
All night, it is.
All
too.
night.
I remember that ill-fated attempt to run it on Wednesday night?
Yes.
That didn't last very long.
No, it was rejected. Diane from Mildura on the Murray. What makes you angry?
The amount of alcohol that is drunk over the Easter weekend.
Yes. Is it the type of alcohol, the low rent Commodore drivers with their personal number plates who roll up at drive-through bottle shops and order tons of premixed bourbon and cola?
Yeah.
It's not just the bourbon and cola, it's the low beer that they are drinking. It's not even like high-class beer. They are drinking like low-class beer.
Yes, well, I thoroughly endorse your rage.
He's saying domestic beer here, Diane. Not even imported.
They're not even trying imported, or even our own Australian, niche beers.
Yes.
They're not even trying that.
Yes. Do you reserve your most fulsome fury for anyone drinking mid-strength beer?
Oh, yeah, the Queenslanders who try to get into Victoria and have their holidays here.
Yes.
And then they have the light beers. That's just foul. You might as well just go full beers.
Yes.
Great.
I couldn't agree more, Diane. What have you been drinking to celebrate the triumph over sin of our Lord Jesus? How have you celebrated his resurrection? With what particular alcohol?
Oh, Crown Lager,
Crown Lager, of course. Yes, made by Carlton United Brewery.
Yes.
John Elliott, his son, was on the show last week.
Fine man.
A fine Liberal, upstanding.
You can't go any better than a nice gold label.
Yes, you can endorse that product. It violates no end of diktats from the ABC Politburo. You are endorsing a commercial product. The station will collapse. Thank you, Diane.
She's got standards.
She has. Neil from Brisbane.
Stirling, how are you?
We're exceedingly well. I'm, of course, with Spencer. Neil, 20 years of rage. What makes you angry?
The fact that the Labor Party continues to misspell the word Labor.
Yes.
Do they really?
They have dropped, and this is very telling, Neil. Very telling.
There's no you in Labor.
That's true. They better put another filter at Freudian slip, I think.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I mean, what's next? Are they going to reverse the art and try and woo the youth vote?
Yes, well said.
There we go.
Yes, fellow traveller. You would note in England, which has been under the yoke of Labor tyranny there since 97, they do include the you in Labor.
Well, it's the Queen's English, isn't it?
Yes. Well, of course, the Queen is English. Yes,
the finest
yes,
English
as
of all.
you say. Yes. Is this corruption of a word, and let's be honest, Neil, of a concept that is completely alien to the majority of Triple J listeners? That is the the concept of labour,
Exactly.
physical exertion.
A movement that's highest point was sitting under a tree in Barcaldine is hardly something to be glorified.
Yes, well said.
And I guess you're suggesting as well, Neil, that if they can't even get the word correct, how can they get the party correct?
Exactly. How can they govern Australia?
Say that again, Neil, for those who didn't... Oh, sorry, I should say, Neil, for those who didn't say that again, I'm confused.
It's a beautiful day in the Labor.
It is. If they can't spell the word correctly, bring it home, Neil.
How can they govern Australia?
Bang.
Spot on.
Goal.
Spot on. Thank you, Neil, from Brisbane.
Thank you, Stirling and Spencer.
Thank you, Neil.
We have Stephen from Byron Bay.
Yes, I've been at the Byron Bay Blues Festival watching a lot of pot smoking, Tilly's Extra Dry, drinking hippies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had the ultimate insult, unfortunately. I ordered a Gordon's Gin and Tonic.
Yes.
Which you can only buy in a pre-mixed can, which of course ruins the Empire's foundation drink.
Yes.
And on the can it says with lemon,
with
an asterisk. Yes, with an asterisk next to the lemon.
Yes, continue.
So being cautious, I checked the can, and the asterisk signifies that it does not actually contain real lemon.
Well, that is a boast you would never get away with at the ABC, because the ABC is run by lemons.
Yes.
It is run by lemons. Yes.
The equipment here is a lemon.
No, I'm talking to virtually 97% of females wouldn't hear a lemon.
It's a good point.
So,
I mean, I was talking about the the engineering standards. I mean, we couldn't even...
I thought they might just look like they've been sucking on a lemon.
Hot-footed from Byron Bay and come straight to the ABC with your gin in hand. There's no shortage of lemons here. I have very little sympathy for anybody who'd attend a blues and roots festival.
Why would you?
I'd have even less sympathy for anybody who'd willingly
go to
Byron Bay.
Yeah, yes. And,
probably get
none of the latter and plenty of the former.
Well said. Well said. This is Restoring Balance, your home of lemons on Triple J.
Restoring the Balance, supporters of the US Alliance.
Idlewild, you held the world in your arms. This is Triple J, Restoring the Balance. You're with Spencer and Stirling. Rage, the Communist Party of Australia's nightly weekend broadcast, or I should say weekend broadcast, overnight. Celebrates 20 years of indoctrination and mind control.
Mind waxing.
We're asking, what makes you rage? What makes you angry? And the talkback phone number here, 1300 055536. If you'd like to SMS 1975, 1975, a turning point in Australian history. 1975, 7555 is the number to do so. Spencer, you have an SMS, a short message service text.
We had a call earlier in the evening, someone giving a blanket criticism to the nation of New Zealand.
Yes.
We received an SMS here. Restoring the balance indeed. Two things come to mind this evening.
Yes.
The words of the late great Conservative New Zealand Prime Minister Robert Muldoon.
Yes, a totemic figure in New Zealand history.
Who stated that Kiwis who immigrate to Australia help raise the average IQs of both countries.
Yes,
and
debatable.
And the New Zealand BC was privatised years ago. So they're actually, they're forward thinking, referring to privatising the ABC, and they have the NZBC. Pretty forward thinking there. A nice, an interesting text message, backward in every other sense. Also, got another text message. Jesus makes me angry. As I only get Good Friday and Christmas Day off, I suggest Jesus' life was wasted backpacking around the world instead of getting a sensible job. That's from Josh on the coast, and I dare say he is coasting through his life. Spiritually bankrupt.
Josh on the coast wouldn't know anything about a sensible job. Wouldn't know anything at all.
What's he doing there?
Well said. As Conservatives Spencer, we should, at times like these, circle the wagons and protect our most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And you ask what I'm talking about, I will let you know. We must, at the moment, all of us, Triple J, we must pray that Alan Jones, the broadcaster Alan Jones, survives the unwarranted opprobrium being heaped upon him for his role in promoting the collapsed company called FinCorp.
Oh.
Which has left a trail of bad debts and many people out of pocket. We should point out Alan Jones is much admired by many announcers at the ABC, in particular Steve Cannane.
Is that so?
Who has based his career on emulating Alan Jones, his vocal style and his carefully groomed persona. And one area where Cannane has failed to imitate a man is in commercial agreements.
Yes.
Cannane has, and I've seen him do this in the Triple J offices, he's repeatedly chased banks and mining companies and offered to take a softer approach on his show. And in exchange, he has demanded tens of millions of dollars of hush money, if you like, from these companies.
This is extraordinary.
From these upright companies. And the mode in which the money was to be delivered in one particular memorable exchange with a giant mining company, he wanted the money as $100 bills stuffed into the G-strings of a barely legal stripper.
Okay.
They're his words, a barely legal stripper.
Wow.
And she would come to the ABC and he would pluck the money from her.
Well, and
this is what is done when Cannane is not on air.
To use a mining analogy, we have tapped a rich vein here.
Yes.
In Cannane.
But some of Mr. Jones's listeners have invested large amounts in FinCorp, and he did so after it had received the esteemed broadcaster's imprimatur, and they have lost money. But we should, if we want to appropriate blame, let us tread softly.
Yes.
Because we should also look at the victims of this unfortunate collapse, and Mr. Jones is one of them.
Yes.
Mr. Jones is one of them.
He is the biggest victim.
Yes. You try to imagine for a minute, if you can, his embarrassment at having received large amounts of money to endorse the company. His embarrassment would now be severe, would it not?
Indeed.
Yes. He is embarrassed too that this is the third time he has endorsed a company that has failed.
Yeah.
He will no doubt be dining in the quietest corner of whatever restaurant he's prone to dine in.
He is a forgotten hero.
Yes. So we should feel sympathy in our hearts for Mr. Jones that this has happened. But speaking of other respected broadcasters admired and copied by Steve Cannane, John Laws.
Right. He's not keeping Struggle Street full of tenants.
No. But he too, a fellow Conservative broadcaster, has been subject to extraordinary vitriolic attacks.
I saw him on Media Watch the other night.
Media Watch wouldn't have a show without their unsustainable attacks on the great man.
The show is really, Monica Attard literally had a dartboard up on the wall.
Yes.
And was just piffing whatever she could find at a face of John Laws. That's the show every single week for 14 minutes.
Has Cannane and his barely legal strippers ever made Media Watch?
When's that happening?
No, exactly. But we should remember John Laws, whose alleged audience, or whose audience is allegedly declining. I want to remind people that once upon a time, John Laws, live on air, talked down a potential jumper, a man attempting to commit suicide on Sydney Harbour Bridge. He talked him down.
Is that so?
We must think to ourselves, if the decline in John Laws's audience continues, will it be him talking himself down off that bridge?
Dear me. We could only hope that he would have his own inner voice to talk himself down.
Yes, inner voice talking to his own inner golden microphone, if you will.
And what an inner voice to have.
Yes.
We all walk around hoping for a voice that rich and deep.
Yes. Now, I wanted to remind people what sort of man John Laws was. And Spencer, I'm not sure if you have it, but I certainly do. His biography, Laws, A Life of Power, I have that on the bookshelf.
Page turner.
And what I've done is I'm seeking to remind people here about John Laws. Yes, you can get him to endorse a product, but if he is not happy, he will turn on the product and lash it with a turbidity that is to be marvelled at.
Right.
But I wanted to remind people that what sort of man he was and why we as an audience at Triple J should support John Laws, and we should all tune in collectively tomorrow, turn away from Triple J and turn towards John Laws. And I have taken the liberty of getting some quotes from Laws, A Life of Power to be voiced.
Great.
and we will play them now to remind us what sort of man he is.
This will be great.
Here's number one.
Looking forward to this.
I would have bought it for 50,000.
That is the John Laws we know and love.
Powerful stuff.
His driver, to recap the story, his driver was offered the car at $50,000 when Laws walked in, a self-made man. They jacked the price up $20,000. Laws stormed out. He would have bought the car for 50, you idiots.
I'm sad to say, I'm not surprised. You don't read that kind of thing in Jonestown.
No. I'm not sure if you've done this, but at the Young Liberals in Kirribilli, we started off the year with a book burning of Jonestown. Yes.
It would have made a merry little blaze, I'm sure.
Yes, that's how we treat that sort of filth in Kirribilli. But that is a series of quotes. We will be playing them throughout possibly the rest of the show, definitely next week's show. Remember, John Laws, he needs our support. He is a fellow Conservative broadcaster. He needs our support.
Let's rally behind him.
Yes, well said, Spencer. This is Restoring the Balance on Triple J.
Restoring the Balance. Countering commie claptrap with considered conservative comment.
When grammar plays the public schools, excitement quite intense prevails amongst the barrackers assembled round the fence. They watch with blazing eyes the shifting fortunes of the fray. They urge their battling comrades on, and this is what they say: Hurrick, hurrah, hurrick, hurrick, hurrah. Grammar, grammar, hurrick, hurrah. The battle may be hot, but whether it is or not, it matters not to jot to sons of grammar.
Yes.
Well, the title of the song really sums up your reaction to it.
Yes, it stirs the soul.
I mean, whenever I hear it, it feels like the wind is at my back and my heart is soaring like an eagle.
Sure.
I'm sure that's the general reaction from the Triple J audience as well.
Sydney Church of England Grammar. The school song, we are attempting to count down the hottest 100 of private school songs, preferably Protestant private school songs.
That would be ideal.
You can submit your own by going to www.abc.net.au/triple J/restoring the balance, all one word, and submit. Be proud of your blazer and school tie and sing in full voice. There's no shame in being privately educated. There's even less shame, as I have been, in being exclusively privately educated, enrolled at birth, and sing in full voice and be proud because, as you would know, Spencer, we praise twice in song.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And of course, music is such a wonderful way to get to people, and it's such a wonderful way, it's such a primal method of getting to people's hearts and indeed to express what the heart feels.
Yes.
I mean, we have an audience here.
We do.
But you'll find that the things we say aren't as effective as that minute and a half right there of hurrick hurrah.
Yes, it certainly gets the message across. And speaking of getting the message across, we are about to speak to, Spencer, Nick Moriitis, who is the online director of Get Up. It is, I guess, a way of a new form of activism. We embrace many different opinions on this show because we like to see the right way, which is the conservative way. There's an old saying that we believe firmly on this show: truth emerges from debate.
Yes.
Nick Moriitis from Get Up, please explain what it is you do.
Great to be here, Sterling.
Thank you.
Get Up is an online network. We have about 170,000 Australians who are receiving our emails every 10 days or so on important national issues like David Hicks, climate change, the recent changes to the Electoral Act that have come through in the last year or so and about to come into effect next week. So
what,
this is fascinating.
What changes to the Electoral Act are you talking about?
The government doesn't want you to vote if you're young,
not true.
basically, or Indigenous.
If you're Indigenous?
They prefer you didn't vote, I think. So they've changed the law to make it much more difficult for these types of groups, which have been traditionally less likely to enrol, basically. It's now going to be much more difficult you have to have more ID. Also, that week after the election was called, which is traditionally the time when you rush down to the electoral office with your form and apply to vote.
Yes.
They're not going to let you do that anymore. You have to basically, as soon as John Howard calls the election, and
as soon as
officially the governor endorses it, the rolls will close that night at 8 o'clock. It's pretty outrageous. In fact.
I don't think it's outrageous at all because there is often before an election there is months of speculation, months as to when the election will be called. In the case of this government, they know that they will have to go to the polls sometimes before November, in which case the sedentary Triple J voter has months
People like
and months
you,
and months
Sterling,
to get off the couch and enroll.
Listen to John Howard's podcasts that he sends around every,
That's what this show
week.
is. Yeah.
Oh, that you play them, do you? Okay,
Yes,
well,
we endorse them.
I'm glad that the ABC is giving him a run, but most people don't. I mean, they wait till election is called and then they apply to register or change their address, and there's hundreds of thousands of people who are going to be affected. So what Get Up does is basically provide people with a way to take action on these sorts of things by writing to politicians, signing petitions, and we try and then kind of make a fuss about it in the media.
Yes. So apart from the terrorist Dave Hicks, who didn't get enough time in jail,
the most dangerous man,
only 5 years in Guantanamo
in the world.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What are the mythical left liberal bogeymen have you promoted?
We've been promoting the ABC.
Yes.
We ran a campaign
a dangerous organisation.
last April that meant they got $88 million in extra funding, so probably
where's
some
that
quality
going?
programs like yours.
It's gone on settling Richard Kingsmill paternity suits.
There we are.
Yes.
It's gone into the
every cent.
into the G-strings of a barely legal
stripper.
A stripper for Cannane.
Cannane, yes.
That's where it's gone.
Now, so you
thank the Get Up members.
Is Get Up is it appropriating or using new technology to summon people to your flag or your standard?
Well, I guess if you call email new technology, I guess it is.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess we're the web is a place where people can express themselves, they can get together, they can organise.
Yes.
Being progressive in America, at least, and somewhat in Australia, can be quite lonely, especially living in a small conservative town. So for the progressive side of politics, it's a great way to connect up and find people that share your views after 10 years of the Howard government.
Yes, 11 conservative March 96.
Policies, which I'm sure you think are fantastic.
Yes, they are. Of course
absolutely.
They are. What about SMS? Of course, Alan Jones was able to rally an army of lithe, scantily clad young men in their 20s.
Of true Australians.
Yes, flag-caped true Australians on the beaches of Cronulla to make a stand for European Australia by SMS. Do you use SMS in the same way?
Well, you can text 199 Get Up now to join our mailing list. So absolutely, if you'd like to, send a message to that address.
199 Get Up, is that including the exclamation mark?
That might be more difficult to type in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So the title Get Up is it's an exhortation wasted on the Triple J listener, pinned as they are under the influence of marijuana to either a bin bag or a bed. Where does it come from? What does Get Up mean?
I guess it means to get involved, and it's not very difficult. You just have to get on the internet and send a couple of emails. It's really an easy way for people to get involved in an age where the political parties aren't very exciting. You're not going to go along to your local branch meeting of the LP or the Liberal Party at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday or whatever it is in the local church hall.
I'd contest the assertion they are not exciting.
Which party are you part of?
Kirribilli, Young Liberals.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Good work.
So we certainly meet the needs of our particular socioeconomic group.
Yeah. It should be called Get Up Before 2 p.m. That's my idea.
Get up
just
before 2
a bold
p.m.
new idea for the Triple J listener.
Well, you can. The great thing about the internet is you can do it any time of day. So get online. I encourage everyone to do that. Yeah.
And do, of course, thank the Pentagon, who funded early research into linking all computers, from which the internet was subsequently born
and created.
The only good thing they ever did, probably.
Yes,
the Forum for Sedition.
Yes, that is Get Up. Nick, the website for those not engaged in the trawling of the internet for hardcore pornography. Where would you go? What website if you need a good laugh?
Getup.org.au.
Yes.
Get Up.
Yes, a good laugh. You go to your website, I think.
Get up and vote Liberal, we would say.
Get down with the thoughts of right-minded Australians.
I think the alternative, like the conservative Get Up, is probably shut up or
shut up anybody to the left.
Down, yes.
Sit down, shut up, and do as you're told.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll run things from here, I think should be our slogan. Nick Morietis, online director of Get Up, thank you for coming in this evening.
No problem, thank you.
Restoring the Balance, Triple J, Stirling Addison, myself, and Spencer Penrose. The song we just heard there, LCD Sound System. Watch the tapes from Triple J's shiny new feature album, Sound of Silver. I've read it, right? I've been instructed by the goons who operate the panels here. Almost a gunpoint to read it verbatim.
Are you sure that's not the LSD sound system?
Well, the ALP sound system.
Probably.
Feature album of the year.
At Triple J. I mean, that's the other name for Triple J is the ALP sound system.
Yes.
Feature album of the week. Is that all? Let's put that on for a year.
Yes.
Because, I mean, it sounds like it was recorded in a week.
The knife of truth pierces through the lies of... Anyway. Yes, anyway. There are only 7 or so minutes of the show. We only get 2 hours on the ABC to correct the ideological tilt of the BBC. It only allows for 2 hours of right-minded opinion. So I won't pat any more. Spencer, how did you spend your Easter?
Well, obviously a little bleary-eyed tonight, and I apologise for my performance, but it is a big day, Easter.
Yes.
A lot of people at church today. One of the holiest days on the Christian calendar, and wonderful to catch up with everyone, all united on this special day to praise and worship our founding pastor, Ashley Evans. And as you know, my wife, Nadine, is pregnant, because this has been a long time coming. We sort of touched on it last week, and we've yet to receive any scientific evidence on that. But I know that God has provided us with a little one, and I'd believe that more than my wife urinating on some stick and waiting for it to turn red. Wouldn't you, Stirling?
Well, I would endorse your faith-based pregnancy kit.
That's all you need.
Science has been wrong many times before, and we need only look at the religious conviction of George Bush.
Yes.
It guides him. He does not need evidence. He has faith. He has conviction, spiritual conviction.
And that is the highest office in the land.
Yes.
But I am one of those people who have an issue with the commercialisation of Easter. I mean, we look at the Easter eggs and the Easter bunny, and I mean, so much money is spent, and really get away from the true message. And that's why I wrote a book about it, which I released today. I actually had the launch today.
Yes.
It's called Easter Ain't No Hustle, and that's available at the church bookstore for Easter, $39.95.
Well, we should make them available too on the Restoring the Balance website.
Well, I mean, indeed I will. $40, and you can read all about how... I mean, some may question the idea of making money during Easter off of a book talking about and decrying the commercialisation of Easter, to which I say, really? And that's all I need to say. You know what I'm saying, Stirling? And then, obviously, for the rest of the day, I'll just watch The Passion of the Christ on DVD. Ironically, no Easter eggs on that DVD. A lot of DVD nerds will know what I'm talking about right there. How about your Easter, though, Stirling?
Well, there was a very strong theme of tolerance, forgiveness and forbearance in my Easter this year.
Wonderful.
Tolerance, I will illustrate this with an example. Tolerance of your partner's eccentricities. And I'm talking, of course, about Penny, my fiancée. We went to Easter service at St Michael's in Vaucluse this morning.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I was chatting with the rector. And Penny was chatting and laughing with a young man who was a commercial airline pilot.
Oh.
And later she excitedly revealed that he was the man who had helped her join the Mile High Club. And this is the bit where it gets confusing, Spencer, because I've had my secretary look online and she could find no airline with a frequent flyer program with that name. So I'm obviously none the wiser about that. But Penny gets it wrong again. I forgive her. So you know, forgiveness. And you would, of course, remember some weeks ago our Oxford Street altercation.
Yes.
Between Penny and I. We had an argument. It was my plan to say sorry the way that any man would by buying her a 3/4 length coat lined with seal fur.
Yeah, and now she should have appreciated that, and I'm sure she did. And
yes.
Did it smooth the waters?
Well, this is the damnable thing. It wasn't possible because thanks to the shrinking habitat and melting ice caps, baby seals are dying out. And as I stood gobsmacked in the store by this news, I was struck with the very profound thought: why is it that the innocent suffer?
Yes.
The innocent suffer. Here I was, never having hurt anyone, simply asking for a fur coat made from baby seals, and I was being cruelly punished because of a fictitious calamity.
Unfair.
Yes.
Absolutely unfair.
It was astonishing, and I turned to Penny, but she refused to be upset because we had got this particular store because she had heard that in the change rooms, there was something called a glory hole.
Okay.
Now,
right. Yes.
Penny.
No, I'm not sure. Exactly.
Well, I had heard, and I'm laughing because the whole thing is so ridiculous. I've heard that it's simply a coin purse or something in a coat.
Yeah. And
the staff are very keen to show it to her, and why it took two men to show her this particular glory hole, I have no idea. I've sought some clarification on what exactly it was. I asked some other staff members, but they were too busy watching something happening on a closed-circuit TV monitor.
Right.
And I just thought, as Penny walked out, here she was without her fur coat. She didn't get the fur coat, and she was in there moaning loudly about something, and she just copped it all on the chin. She just
Indeed. It's a glorious day, and it's a holy day. and may her adventures with the glory hole continue. And as well, people listening overseas on the Great Seal Hunt in Canada, hello to them. I'm sure they're listening online. 850 seals they killed this week. 3 down on my personal best, but good luck to them. Certainly a full schedule coming up for those lads. But there we go. Glory holes, mile high clubs. It's all here on Restoring the Balance.
We will be back next week. Thank you for joining us. And we will be back, and this is a personal highlight for this show, with the man who has bravely drawn a line in the sand and said, if you want online facts that are true, you will go to the Conservapedia. Not the Wikipedia, the Conservapedia. Conservapedia.org. It is online. You can check it out for yourself. It is online now. We will be speaking to him. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Restoring the Balance on Triple J.
Triple J.